Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a tire test for the Scx6. Picked up these Power Hobby Mud Boss tires, and they come with a dual stage foam, which I think is really nice because dual stage foams will normally run you, even for a 10th scale, they're usually like 25 bucks a pair, so 50 bucks for a set. For the Scx6, as you know, most things are priced even higher because of the size of the wheels and tires. So I don't know offhand what dual stage foams cost for the Scx6, but let me know what you've seen them for. I think they're pretty pricey. So these you can pick up for around $90, $85, $90 on eBay. They are the Power Hobby Mud Bosses, and they do all come with the dual stage foam. So these are really nice dual stage foams. Has a pretty hard inner foam and a nice soft outer foam. I did notice that the outer foam it's a little large for the tire, honestly, but I'll show you guys once I have them installed. I have 3 done already. It does feel really nice inside the tire. So it's just a little bit of a job to kind of squish it in there. I'm just going to test these. I typically run the anti-foams. I'm going to test it with the dual stage foams just to see how they work and if there's any advantages over the anti-foam. And if I end up keeping the dual stage foam for whatever reason, depending on if they feel a little bit firm, it's always an option to trim a little bit. Like I would almost like maybe round the edges. You could kind of cut out a little bit of foam if you really want to. Another option I'm more likely to go with if these have an advantage over the anti-foams is to run the inner foam with a hair bun for the outer. And if you're not familiar with hair buns, you can do a search online. It's essentially just like a nylon mesh donut looks like, and people with long hair can use them for making a hair bun. So they sell them. You can get them at the dollar store. You can get them on Amazon pretty cheap. But I think if I get like extra large size hair buns and wrap them around the outside, could replace this, and it would be waterproof. That's one huge advantage with the anti-foam that I really like, is that they're completely waterproof. What I noticed though, and one thing I didn't like with the anti-foam, and let's take this a step back even further. So I'm running them on these Amazon beadlock wheels. Can't remember what brand these were sold under, but I did a review of these. Check out my other video. The problem is with the stock ring, the aluminum stock ring that fits in here, the beadlock ring, and the stock tire, the tire actually spun on the wheel because it just didn't fit tight enough. So the one solution I found was to run the stock plastic ring because it's a little bit wider and it has these little kind of shoulder notches in here that grip the tire better. So that was my one solution with that. And what I noticed measuring these two, the bead of these two tires, the bead on the Mud Boss is a little bit thicker rubber. So should have no issue on any of the Amazon bead locks. I can't say for sure without testing them all, but it is a thicker bead. It should grab no problem. And again, the solution, if it did spin or any wheel and tire combo that you have that spins, give the stock inner ring a try because I think this is going to solve that problem in most cases. But anyway, getting back to this with the anti-foam, what I don't like, if I pop this inside the anti-foam, is you see this, you see how this shifts back and forth? It does that on the truck. So you can just take your entire wheel, tire and anti-foam and squish it back and it moves a lot. It's moving like almost, I don't know, half an inch. So your tire can shift left and right. And I don't like that. And I guess you could probably glue this. I feel like it would be such a messy job to glue this in here because you would almost have to, I guess, press it in while it's inside the tire, run a bead of glue. I don't know. The other issue I had was this outer black print is separate from the inner orange print. And I actually used, you can see, I used carpet tape, really thin dual-sided carpet tape to adhere them together because that was shifting left and right inside the wheel. So the whole thing was shifting around. I don't want to talk trash about anti-foams. I think they work really well, but I just think that it could be designed better to fit with these wheels. Like, I don't know, if there was a groove that these two fit together so they wouldn't shift, and then if there was a bigger groove in the middle that fit onto the ring. But now if you're using the aluminum ring that comes with this, it might actually be worse, right? So one thing I like about the dual stage foam is you'll see it has this little bump, has the little bump up in the middle. If you're familiar with like a a Proline dual stage foam. It's the same idea. So that little bump up in the middle of the foam fits inside the groove on here. And when you put them together, you get, there's a minimal, I mean, there is a little bit of shift, but it's less than with this. And what I found was when I assemble the whole thing together, there's no shift at all. You cannot feel the inner shifting left or right at all. And then of course the outer, you know, all you feel is a little bit of squish on the side. So for that reason alone, I want to try these and see if there's any advantage. So what I'm thinking is for a good waterproof solution, it's going to be this inner with a hair bun outer. So that's going to be another video in the future. But let me go over a couple weights here before we get out and do some testing here. So the dual stage foam that comes with them weighs 45 grams. And just for reference, I think I have, hold on, I'll be right back. I'm going to weigh a stock foam. Okay, so stock foam weighs 35 grams, dual stage 45 grams. Not a big difference. You can see overall stock foam's a little bit, teeny bit shorter diameter. This thing, you know, just wobbles all over the place and it's terrible to run unless you're just like trailing. And this is going to have so much more sidewall support. It should work great. So anyway, dual stage 45, stock 35, anti-foam 160 grams. These things add a lot of weight per wheel. They're really heavy. So if you're looking for weight, it's a good option. Priciest option, definitely. Now the Mud Boss tire, 265 grams. This, you know, marginally used. It's still got really good tread. Stock tire, mine weighs 305. It's probably closer to 310, maybe 320 stock. So the Mud Boss tire is actually lighter, and a lot of that has to do with the amount of spacing between the lugs. If you're familiar with Tire Talk, they have a land and C ratio. So the land would be your actual like knobs, and the C would be the amount of room between it. So I don't know, this looks like maybe like a 50-50, maybe 45% land, 55% C. This is a lot more land, right? There's a lot less space between these lugs. So there's a lot more lugs on here. That's why this tire is heavier. But of course, in loose terrain, especially mud, this is going to work better because you have these larger, kind of wider spacing between the lugs. Just allows room for the mud and dirt and debris to kind of clear out more. And I think they're going to be grippier. The tire compound feels, if you take each knob and just kind of dig your nail into it, it definitely feels softer and stickier than the stock one. So hopefully that works out really well on the rocks. It's got this nice little, you know, not a super aggressive, but a little sidewall tread. I do really like that little pattern, that imprint pattern on the side. They're really nice looking tires. And I'll show you this once it's assembled. The molding on this tire is so precise. Like that little seam where the two halves are joined together is so ultra perfect. There is no excess. They are really, really well-made tires. There's no ribbing inside. The wall of the tire itself feels about as thick as the stock one, but you could really feel that this is a lot stickier of a compound. Just stretches a little bit easier. So overall size is pretty much identical. This has a little bit more of a rounded edge on the shoulder. These do have a nice little stepped lug pattern here, and they're not directional, so you can mount these either way, which is kind of cool because as your tires wear out, you could just kind of rotate them to each different corner. No problem. Same deal with the stock ones. Basically, you know, you start getting this leading edge worn out. Sometimes, I mean, that's actually better for the rocks, but if you're in loose terrain and mud and stuff, you might want to flip them around, reverse them as they wear. You get more life out of them. So let me get these mounted up. Okay, so here is the finished product mounted up. I'll get a total weight for you guys if you're curious. But yeah, there is no, I get zero shifting. The inner foam does not shift at all once this thing is assembled, which is very nice. So I did not vent these yet. The rim itself is vented in a couple spots, so it's completely fine. I don't need to vent the tires on this. If I'm going to start running this in water, I'm going to try to avoid water today. I really am going to do my best. I'm just like a little kid, though. If I see water or a stream or something, I'm going to have to play in it. But I want to do my best just because I want to do a little more testing with these foams just to see how they work. And I don't want to get these waterlogged. That would be the main reason to vent the tire itself. If you do run in water, it can drain out of the tire when the vehicle sits. Every once in a while, just rotate the tire, squeeze it, and you'll get some water coming out. All right, let's get to the actual testing here. So this first area, just wanted to test it out on some kind of bouldery terrain. There's a little bit of sandy soil here and a steep hill toward the end, a little bit of mud and stuff. I figured it would be a good spot just to get a slightly different environment than what I typically run in. I've had this truck here a couple times. It's not a huge area, but it is fun to play around in. And overall, very impressed in this terrain, hooked up nice. The inserts, you can see like even here, really good sidewall support, and they don't shift around at all, so I was really happy with those. They are a bit stiff. I think they would break in over time, or if your rig is heavy, on the heavier side, this is probably a good combo. Mine is not crazy heavy. I do have two 6,000 batteries in here, and I have a little bit of brass up front, brass diff covers front and rear, but I'm not running the rear spare tire in the rear or anything, so I wouldn't say I have the heaviest truck. It's not the lightest, but also not the heaviest. These are, as you can see, capable of digging a little trench in some sandy soil here. But yeah, overall, very happy in these conditions. You can see the front tire there did conform a bit to the rocks, but I think for all-out rock crawling performance, a softer insert or just a more broken in. I don't know. I can't say. You know, if you run these for a couple weeks, a month, whatever, they might break in and be like really nice, or maybe not. Maybe you need to trim some of that foam out or go with a different outer foam. But I'm going to test these again with an anti-foam just because that's what I've been running. So I think just to give it a little more of a direct comparison of what I'm used to, I did just want to get out and test these dual stage foams because, you know, just clearing out some of the mud from the tires. But yeah, they hook up nice. But yeah, I think, you know, again, I mentioned it during the video. I mean, during the initial test video, that, you know, for $90, you're getting, I mean, Proline dual stage inserts cost $70 alone, and then you're going to pay another $100 for for Proline tires or J Concepts tires. You know, the single stage foam that comes with those tires is pretty much useless. It's no better than stock. So here we are getting into some of the more, like, you know, extreme rock crawling terrain that I typically run this truck in. I run a lot of my trucks up in this terrain, so really great area, a lot of good lines and stuff, and performed really well. Again, in this environment, I think a softer insert would work better. The sidewall support from these things is excellent. I can say I never had an issue. They don't shift around at all. I think, you know, maybe just breaking them in or going with something, you know, modifying the outer foam, I think would be nice. But I do want to get out and run this head-to-head. I want to put the anti-foams back in here, run this head-to-head with my buddy's truck who has, he's running the J Concept Tusk, which is like one of the ultimate tires in any size. And he's definitely like really crushed me in the past when I had stock tires on and he had the Tusks. It was an obvious difference in traction. So I would like to get out and run a little head-to-head competition with his truck. And if I do anytime in the near future, I will get some video of that. But yeah, overall, really happy with the performance of these. And I got to say, if there's one reason alone to buy these and give them a shot, it's the value. You know, $90, you're getting a really solid performing tire, extremely well made, and you're getting a really nice dual stage insert for the cost of tires. Any other manufacturer is going to charge you $90 just for the tires, and the single stage foam that comes with it is pretty much garbage. This line here, very difficult. It gets harder after I stop here and reposition to get into a better angle. So right here, there's a tough transition, and it gets really off camber. It's tough for a rig this big. I don't have this thing really dialed in for extreme rock crawling. This is just trail truck setup. I really haven't done anything to the suspension. This is just stock springs. I don't even have it sitting that low. You know, so the fact that it could pull this off is pretty impressive. And yeah, happy with the tires though. They definitely hooked up. Here you can see again that, you know, I'm not getting any sidewall rolling over. And this is kind of at the limits of what my setup here is capable of in terms of side hilling. You know, it was really like tenuous here where it was like just about to tip over. And, you know, this is pretty much like head height for me, which is I'm 6'2", and this thing is up there. So if it comes tumbling down, it's probably going to take me out. So it's a little sketchy there, but it was able to do it, and impressive. So I definitely want to continue doing some testing with this tire, and I could say I recommend it. I'm running out of video here, so I'll catch you in the next one, guys, but stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Later.